have the privilege, together with investment planning advisor Michael Tyler, of having an in-depth conversation with our clients, Anna and Jason Thompson, as they discuss their experiences working one-on-one with Mike. Anna and Jason, you've been working with Mike a little over a year now, and a most interesting year it's been. I think it's probably best we leave it at that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves and what brought you to CDSPI?
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm a dentist, and I've been practicing in Manitoba for just about 7 years. And my husband, Jason, is a physiotherapist. He's been practicing for close to 13. And we approached CDSPI when we were realizing that we really needed to find out a financial long-term plan that was going to help us accommodate the transition from being students to making a game plan for our 3 children, and as well as maybe some practice purchasing that was going to be coming up in the future.
Excellent. Thank you for coming to us. We really do appreciate that. So Mike, why don't you describe how you approached Anna and Jason's situation specifically?
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, so when Anna and Jason approached me, the first thing I discovered, it was mainly because they had questions. They weren't necessarily looking for a product or looking for solutions. They had questions, and also they wanted to make sure they were asking the right questions to plan for their future. So my goal was to uncover all I could about their situation. I remember our first meeting. I drove out and met them in Gimli at a coffee shop. It was a nice little break and a drive out there on a nice day, and they had a warm coffee waiting for me, which was fantastic, guys. Thank you. And we sat down, and I just tried to uncover all I could about them. Found out about their kids, found out about their goals. You know, they talked about wanting to build their own home. They talked about, an upgrade, their 3 kids, plans for the future for education, Anna's desire to buy her own practice at some point. And all, the first thing that became clear is there were a lot of competing goals here. So I realized when putting together a plan that we needed to prioritize these. We needed to prioritize them in terms of importance, but also in terms of timing. And that's the kind of thing that you can only uncover when you get to know someone. So knowing their situation, we came to realize that cash flow was going to be key. We needed to make sure that those short-term goals they had in terms of getting themselves ready to buy a practice, building a house, or potentially buying a new house, were in place, while also not losing sight of those longer-term goals, like helping the kids with their education and saving for their retirement. So that was really my goal and focus, was making sure that they could meet their short-term goals and not fall off track for the long-term goals at the same time.
Thanks, Mike. Anna and Jason, what specifically was it about Mike's financial plan, his overall approach, that made you essentially want to work with him?
Well, it was just exactly what Michael described, was that he considered every single one of our long-term goals and made sure that everything would make sense. So it wasn't just a one-track mind onto our business decisions, or even to our, like you said, our home decisions. It considered everything, as well as prioritizing our family, because he could hear loud and clear that that was our number one priority for sure, which makes a really big difference to us when we knew that we were going to be taking care of our family and our kids in the long term, not just worrying about the short term investments, or, like you said, just cash flow. So that meant so much to us. And when we got the printout that explained exactly how we were going to pull it off, and what the monthly budget was going to be for each investment, and what it was going to result for ourselves and our children in the long term, we felt like we were truly heard, and we were given answers that we were looking for.
It was something we never got anywhere else that we dealt with.
That's right. It wasn't just about, an RRSP contribution. It was about a true, genuine plan that was catered for our goals and our family.
We appreciate the candidness in that answer. Thank you for that. So Mike, I understand a lot of the meetings that you had with Anna and Jason took place during the start of the pandemic, like literally around this time last year. How did that influence your overall implementation of their plan?
Well, yes. I mean, as I'm sure the pandemic had a big effect on everyone, this was particularly the case for Anna and Jason. And once we had presented the financial plan and they indicated they were comfortable moving forward, we were kind of caught with the shutdown and the first real effects of the pandemic hitting everything, not just life, but hitting markets and everywhere, right in the middle of these transfers happening. And this meant immediately we had to revisit our planning goals. I mean, not only did I have to touch base with Anna and Jason in terms of plans we had made in terms of, the savings contributions and, what are we going to contribute to, because they're facing a shutdown where when are we going to be able to go back to work? And no one really knew the answers to those questions. So there was that. But we also had the situation where it was fantastic and we appreciated that Anna and Jason said, you guys said you wanted to deal with us, and we were in the middle of transferring things over. And, some of the assets had come over and some hadn't. And I just realized that timing was not good to do that right now. It was more important that we, protect you guys. And we say, look, we would love to have your assets over here, but the important thing is that you're not losing out as a result of doing that. And we wanted to make sure of that. And just because of some snafus with the transfer, they got caught in the middle. So, I felt it was important that, hey, we've got time on this. We don't need to rush things. Again, the goal is the end game and the solution. So it was important to me that we did the transfer when it was right. Not just right away so that we could get it out of the way and done with. And it took a little bit of work to make things right, but I was happy to do it because, ultimately, I think it worked out better for Anna and Jason and, works out better for us in the long run. And I had a lot of conversations with Jason, and I'm sure had to take up a lot of his time to make sure we got everything sorted out correctly. Kind of a lot of legwork on both ends. Definitely appreciated that. But I'm glad we got I'm glad we got to do things when the timing was right, and we ultimately, waited. And the other thing too is we made sure that we reviewed a couple of times, through the pandemic, when was the right time to kind of revisit these long-term goals and make sure that the short-term was going to be okay. Because like I say, life kind of came to a halt for a lot of people. And, we wanted to make sure that just because it was coming to a halt, first and foremost, we took care of the short-term, but we also weren't losing sight of the long-term at the same time.
Thanks, Mike. So just in terms of a timeline, you've had about 4 meetings, and then Jason with Mike over the year. So how do you've gotten to know each other really well, as you can clearly see from both your answers. So how do you feel about his overall process?
Yeah.
Okay, so, what we really appreciate is Michael's really calm approach to everything. There was a few times where we got a little bit anxious with what the stock market was doing, and Michael was reassuring us, and turns out he was 100% right.
Which was great. But definitely calm and knowledgeable is so helpful because it's very easy to get, overwhelmed. And so if you have someone that has sound advice to back up everything that he's saying and guiding you through these crazy times, especially last year, it's more than valuable. And we always get answers immediately. Like if we send an email and we have a question, we just hear back immediately. Anytime we needed a meeting or reassurance or to reevaluate our, everything's just been really great and reliable. And we very much appreciate it.
Thanks for that. We do appreciate your business and your candor. So, Mike, now that Anna and Jason are actually physically moving and transitioning things, especially from a city and from their roles, how does their plan change?
So this is actually really exciting for me. And this is what I love about the whole financial planning process, because I tend to take the approach that financial planning is a bit like building the house. And when we first met Anna and Jason, what we did is we really said, okay, look, I need to get the foundation in place first here, right? That's what we're going to start with. So, we talked about short-term goals. We made sure that, okay, are you going to be okay if something happens to both of you? What if you're unable to work for a period of time? What happens then? What are these short-term needs that we need to take care of in terms of, a new house, Now, of course, a move that's been introduced into the picture. Buying a practice of your own, Anna, which is happening shortly. So what was really exciting is now that we got the foundation in place, and we also kept sight of those long-term goals such as retirement, kids' education, etc., and knew that those were going to be on track. We've kind of got that foundation and the first floor built, and now we can start to add on, right? We can get the second floor and the attic and things like this, to carry the analogy forward. So what's really exciting now is we're less looking at, are we going to be able to meet these goals because we've met some of the short-term ones, well, I say we, but Anna and Jason have met those goals. We just showed them a roadmap of how to do it. So now that they've met those goals, we can say, okay, for these longer term ones, we know we're going to be okay. So how do we do them as efficiently as possible? So it's less about, are we going to get there? And it's, how fast can we get there? And how well can we do this? And it just opens a whole exciting, world of opportunities in terms of talking about the various different complexities going forward, such as, incorporating and how that's going to affect where we invest in the different buckets, how we can accelerate that retirement time frame. So maybe we get there instead of, age 60 or beyond, we say, okay, let's get you as fast as possible. So you're working because you want to and not because you still have to. And, I'm really excited to work on those transitions as we go forward and see what else we can add to their plan, as their situations change.
Thanks, Mike. So Anna and Jason, definitely some exciting times ahead of you. Some really fast changing things all at once. So we want to congratulate you on that. And I'll close with this final question, and that would be, in your opinion, why should someone work with someone like Michael Tyler?
Someone should work with Michael if they want a very organized person to work with. They want something that's very structured. They want to work with somebody that's knowledgeable, and then also that's someone that has access to great products. We've been very happy with the choices that we've made in this past year.
And truly, if you just want to be heard, like if you want to have your questions answered and your concerns validated and have a plan that's completely catered to where you want to be in X amount of years. And like Michael said, it took 1 year for us to meet our short-term goals. And we kind of thought this would be a 5-year plan. So we're very excited and we're so grateful for all of the advice, because we truly didn't know enough to put ourselves in a good situation financially beforehand. And we've already noticed significant changes to our life. So I would highly recommend Michael and CDSPI products to anyone who's willing to take that step forward and see what they can do for you.
Thank you both for your time today. We truly appreciate it. Taking time out of definitely what is a most busy time for anyone, and yourselves, 3 children and a move, and we really do appreciate this. So again, thank you. Thank you for entrusting us. And I'm going to move over to Michael and thank him. And a lot of things were said here, and I wrote them down. But the two I think that came out was the whole be heard part of it, which is incredible, and essentially valuing this as their own roadmap rather than a cookie cutter one. So we do appreciate the partnership that you've been able to unfold here. So with that, I'm going to thank you all for your time this evening, and we do appreciate it, and wish you a great night. Bye now.